In today's video I'll have a closer look at one of the coolest lure fishing rods I ever reviewed, and that's an offering from PureLure. And it has plenty going on, for example Fuji reelseat, Fuji guides, and best of all really, carbon used for this blank will be the most advanced carbon available commercially as of today. So yeah, there is plenty to talk about and it will be very interesting. Before talking about the rod itself, let me quickly move it out of the shot to show what you are getting once you are buying this rod. So first of all, you are getting a components or a pair of them to build yourself a hook keeper anywhere on the blank. So I like this approach a lot. And also you are getting a rods bag, or rod would come in the rods bag, so that's a very high quality rods bag made out of, I don't know, maybe a couple mils of neoprene, so very well padded. I like it a lot. And it's zipped and it has a pair of sections, or it has a separator inside here just to separate butt section with tip section. Great to see that. Okay, let's move this bit out of the shot now. We'll start with the butt section, therefore I will move the tip out of the shot for now. So as you can see, the end cap is made out of cork and rubber kind of mixture, so meaning it's not slippery and also it's very durable. I like this a lot. And then you will see a hollow section here. Looks very cool, but again, it might be a problem when some tiny stones or mud will get stuck inside here. So I guess all I will do for this rod I got, I will fill it with epoxy just to add some bait at the very end of the rod too. And then you will see this section, and this is very fancy bit. Basically it's made out of carbon cloth. It's not an effect, it actually, I'm not too certain if you can pick it up on camera, but that's a carbon cloth. So real carbon used here. Looks very fancy. And this section is kind of decently long, very, you know, comfortable to grip, and it's not too long as well. It's just like perfect. So thinner here, thicker here. Very good to grip it on the cast. Then we got a split here with some writings here. And I will mention right away, for this particular model, the distance from the end to the top of the reel seat is about 25 centimeters. So now the reel seat, again, the same deal here. Everything is metal here, and the same hollow engraved screw. Looks super fancy, as you can see. Then the reel seat itself. It's Fuji, hope you can see it. It says Fuji here and Fuji here. It says PureLure here. And I always like, you know, reel seats for spinning reels when the screw is below the reel. So part that is very important to put your finger on when fishing. He has no screws. Everything is smooth and, you know, comfortable. I like this approach a lot. Then you will see the same carbon here. And it's kind of, it's not exactly super slim, but it's not, you know, thick either. So it's kind of, at least for my hands, it feels just right. I like this kind of area around the reel a lot. It feels awesome. And now let's move further. I guess I will flip this rod around so you would be able to read a little bit better all the writing. So it says Flight Dance, T-Butt, HX 45 plus 90, and here we have some more information if you can see it. So length 2.73 meters, so 9 feet plus. Lures from 10 to 45 grams. Remember this number, from 10 to 45 grams, so that's a relatively powerful rod. I bought it for my sea bass fishing, or in those situations where longer casts will be needed. And yeah, line from 1 to 3 PE, or from 8 to 20 pounds. There is a code of the rod as well. And you will notice right away how slim the blank is for this power. And that's a fast action rod and very good recovery, but still, I mean, it's under 1 centimeter here, so super slim blank for the length and for the power. Okay, let's move on. You'll see the blank has kind of crossed carbon finish, but it's not like very pronounced. It's like very, supple. I like it a lot. And then we got first guide, which is Fuji, obviously. I hope you can see on this leg it says Fuji here, and that's a Fuji Alconite guide. So I believe second best of Fuji guides, or guides from Fuji you can get. So, and since it's a long rod, this one has a decent size guide, so decent size reels can be used for distance casting. So yeah, in my opinion, the size of the guide is just about perfect for this power and length of the rod. Okay, let's move on. And here we got a spigot or a joint. As you can see, we have kind of stronger carbon inside here just to make the blank or connection stronger. Good to see that. And yeah, simple deal here. Okay, we talked about the... Oh, I will mention also that you'll see that code here, which is good, if you will need to order like spare tip or butt section, you just know the code, and 1 will mean tip section, 2 will mean butt section, it's cool. And also you will notice that this writing is right in the middle. So when you will be aligning sections, you can use those texts to align the sections. So yeah, cool. Okay, let's move on to the tip now. So that's a joint bit. Again, insert of a stronger carbon here, which is good to see. And then we got first guide on the tip. Again, it says Fuji. Second guide. And also you will notice the application of the epoxy, it's just sublime. Probably best I've seen. Just feels very, very premium, just like perfect more or less. And it's on every guide. So yeah, guides are going smaller. And that's a fourth guide on the tip. That is on one leg. I will flip that tip around. So obviously guides are going smaller on one leg, and here we got a tip guide, and you will see that tip guide has a frame to prevent the tangles. And also you will notice that guides are of a decent size really, so if you are using long leaders where not needs to go through the guides, no problems here at all. So yeah, let's count the guides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we have 9 guides in total. Guides are nicely spaced, and they do match with this blank very well. Okay, let's take the weight of this rod, and if I remember correctly, it will be around 130 grams. Just to make sure I'm not touching anything. 110 for the butt section and the tip. Yeah, that's 131. So you know what? That is ridiculous, because that's a long rod and powerful rod, and it weighs only 131 grams. And really, when you have it in the hand, or when I kind of was shaking it, it feels like an ultralight almost. It's so light, it's crazy. Even though, when you shake it, you just know that it's a powerful rod, but it just feels very, very light in the hand. And weight in this case is reflected like in grams. So yeah, that's very, very impressive. Okay, now let's talk about the carbon, right? So this blank uses carbon, which is quite fancy. I believe it's called Toray M40X. And that's a relatively new type of carbon, meaning that it's a kind of very stiff carbon, but also it's very strong. Let me explain. You see, when you have a very stiff carbon, it does not want to kind of be very strong. So if you kind of bend the rod that is kind of very stiff, at some point it will break, and that point quite often especially for the thinner rods, is kind of very soon, like way sooner that you would want. But this one, it's stiff, but you can bend it on a, let's say, greater load, but it won't break because it's strong. So I believe this fancy carbon enabled them to make this rod very slim for the length, but still it remains fast when it comes to the action. So action is fast, and also recovery times are very, very good. So powerful rod, up to 45 grams, slim rod, it has fast action and great recovery times. So when you combine all those components, you just know that something is different with this rod. For one, I don't have something similar in my kind of fleet of rods that would be so long, would be so thin, and it would have still a fast action and good recovery. This is different, and as I mentioned, I believe this will be to do with this fancy carbon used. And there is more. You see, even though it's a fast action, but under the load, let's say half of the blank would bend. That's very, very good quality for the rod, meaning that thinner or finer lines can be used and still big fish can be landed with those thinner lines. That's very, very good quality, and I like it a lot. So obviously, since something new and very fancy has been used to make a product, in this case a rod, it will mean that it will be expensive. Again, I won't talk about the price too much, but I will say this, that this will be like by far the most expensive of my rods I ever reviewed. Whether it will fit your own fishing or you just want to try it out, it's for you to decide, but I can't see you being disappointed. If you can fork out this amount of money, you are getting probably one of the best rods available, at least in my opinion currently. And now when it comes for the reel, right, because that's a long rod and relatively powerful rod, still you will need a reel that weighs more or less 3 to 330 grams to have that perfect balance. So I will use this Daiwa Caldia SV. It's a lovely reel and it matches with this rod beautifully. You see, it's super important to match rod with a correct weight reel, especially with a longer rod. And when you have a correct balance with a longer rod, it actually feels like an ultralight, and when you have something as fancy as this one, you put a correct size or correct weight reel on, really it feels like an ultralight. It's so light and so well balanced. So yeah, all in all, I don't want to talk about it too much. I just will say that I will test this rod out soon and will produce another video. So yeah, check those links in the description below if you are interested, and be sure to read reviews from other anglers to figure out whether you want this kind of a rod or you don't. And when it comes to application, this long version will be perfect for bass fishing, sea bass I mean. It will be just perfect. Then it will be great for guys who are fishing for salmon in like big rivers. When salmon are migrating into the rivers, this will shine because it's very kind of strong. It's very light in the hand. Blank is just sublime, and you can cast, you know, medium-sized lures across big rivers, no problem at all. So yeah, check those links in the description below if you want to get one. But that's it. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one. Over and out.